So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Welcome to my Galaxy Z Fold 4 5 months later review. Now I do have the gray-green colorway. That's what I've had since launch. And I want to talk about the experience of this phone after 5 months and my thoughts on it now. So we'll begin by talking about its overall price. This phone does retail right around 1,800 bucks, so it's not a cheap device whatsoever. However, I was able to snag this much cheaper because I traded in last year's Fold and got a ridiculous $1,000 off. So it was a no-brainer to go ahead and pick it up. But for the full retail, is it worth it? If you want to try something that's groundbreakingly different from a regular smartphone, it might be worth it. You're going to have to cough up that money. But as you go forward, if you want to upgrade in the future, Samsung likely will offer you, big discounts if you just take the initial plunge on a Z Fold. However, they're still very high, and I cannot recommend this just to the regular consumer, in terms of a cheaper phone. It's not. You're going to have to go all out for this one right here. Now, in terms of the build 5 months later, I have obtained a few scratches on the edges, mostly from putting on this case right here that came from Samsung, the Z Fold 4 case, which their cases for the Z Fold 4 have been much better than their older cases. For the older editions, they've fixed a few things, but they're still not perfect. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You can definitely still see right through that phone. You see the table right here, you see the fingers. You could definitely still see right through it, so it's not fully flat. It's still kind of just a refinement over the last editions, and that's what I keep thinking about, every time I use this. It's just much more ready for prime time, everyday usage versus the other ones. And the whole durability of this phone, it was ready. It's just ready to be used daily. So this phone, not the most durable phone out there, but it's definitely good enough for everyday usage. I still wouldn't want to get it wet or anything like that. But I've seen people in the airports, I've seen people rocking these things all over the place. Not as much as iPhones, obviously, not as much as regular Galaxy phones, but I'm starting to see them pop up in public. So they're definitely catching on a little bit more. Now you can see there's still a pretty substantial crease there, right there in the middle. However, it does kind of blend in a little bit more when you do use the phone. You don't really notice it too much, but I still see it when I'm outdoors and stuff. However, it has been improved over the Z Fold 3, which was pretty blatantly obvious every time you see and look at it. But again, some people are just not really feeling the crease, and this is an area I think Samsung is going to improve this year on the next Z Fold. They might even change the actual feel of it as well. It might get a little bit different in the way it folds. We'll see how that goes in the future. But there's not much I think they can do with this so far. You're just gonna have to deal with this crease right here. So yeah, that's something I still notice, and it does bother me sometimes. But at the end of the day, I can live with it due to the fact that look at all this display right here. It's just amazing. Now, the front display of the Galaxy Z Fold 5 months later has felt very nice. It's portable, it's usable, and it just kind of gives you the best of both worlds, a more one-handable phone in the front, and then when you need the space, you open it up. One-handing meaning that it's narrow enough for one hand, not thickness. This phone is ridiculously bulky by comparison to a regular phone. I mean, look at it. It's a brick. This thing is heavy, is wide, especially right here on the thickness. It's really wide right there, and you feel it. And some people say it feels like a remote or something like that. I can see where they're coming from with that. But I gotta say that I still really enjoy using it on the front just because it feels so easy narrow-wise, the screen, to reach both sides. However, I still don't like how small the screen is for typing. So while I do like that narrow feel for, one-handed use, I have to recommend that Samsung does make a bigger display, hey, what's up, on the front, because it's never going to feel truly like an actual smartphone until they make an actual smartphone screen on the front. Because how many smartphones are this narrow with this narrow of a keyboard? Hardly any. You can see the punch hole camera there on the front is pretty good. You'll actually have to use the front-facing camera on here to go ahead and get the best quality on this front selfie right here. You can also use the rear camera as a selfie as well for the ultimate quality like this, where you use all the rear cameras, which is excellent. But when you go ahead and you open this phone up, I found over my time using it, I'm just never using this in the inner display camera. it doesn't really, in my opinion, besides a video call, really even need to be there because it doesn't work that good at all. It looks very fuzzy and weird. So they need to either put this somewhere on the body or maybe scrap it. I don't think they're going to scrap it because people use this for video calls. But at the end of the day, this is never going to be the camera I use for pure quality. Although that's probably not the point. That's why there's only like very small amount of modes on this camera right here. So definitely you're going to want to use the rear cameras on this phone. I like this phone has dual SIM. It does have eSIM and regular SIM support. It does have 5G. I like that it has an in-display fingerprint sensor. I like that it's not using an in-display fingerprint sensor, but goes with the traditional sensor right there. That is so much more accurate. Like, you just click this and it always works all the time. So really love the fingerprint sensor on the Z Fold. It's in the right location. Almost everybody's going to be able to reach it, and it's been fantastic. Another thing that's been fantastic is when you are using this phone and you want to multitask, they put this little bar down here so you can go ahead and switch between applications. You can bring new applications in. It's just a fantastic way of using the screen. So Samsung really thinks about and knows how to take advantage of a panel, knows how to take advantage of a screen. You can bring in 3. Now, I don't know why, but like, I just feel like, why can't we have 4? Like, there's space right there, Samsung, for 4 applications. I know that might be pushing it a little bit, but if you're trying to be the ultimate phone here, why not? I mean, there's definitely space to go ahead and drop one right there too. So it'd be nice if they could bring 4 applications on the next version of One UI here for the next Z Fold or something like that. Maybe even bring it to this older Z Fold when it becomes an older phone. It's not older yet, but you can see that UDC right there, the under display camera, not very visible unless you really get close. So this really does feel nice. And this overall display, while it still kind of runs in a phone format, you know, it still is really enjoyable to consume media. It's very vibrant. And while it's not the sharpest panel out there on the inner display, it's one of the best experiences ever on a phone. It just, if you want to watch videos, you want to consume media, I always grab this to go ahead and consume media on. It's the best for a phone. It's near like a small tablet level. So pretty cool. Also, like I was showing you earlier with the multitasking, when you do bring those applications in, it's just a powerhouse for productivity. You don't have to switch between applications when you're doing a bank transaction, you're checking your numbers, when you're, you know, maybe taking notes side by side with something you're researching. You just don't got to do that. Like, I was looking at the Walkmans the other day. Let's say I want to take some notes on the Walkmans. You know, I could just take some notes here, the Sony Walkmans, and then I could check out, well, you know, how much are those? So those are going to be $69.99, not $6,099, $69.99 plus, let's say I got $100 in the bank right there. You know, let's say like, oh, I just want to calculate how much it's going to cost me. You see, I'm going to have $30 left. So like stuff like this, you can just kind of like, you know, add and, you know, just remove things and have it there. You can bring it down. In addition, if you want to like come over here, they still have the edge panels. Where are they at? I think I moved them down here. So they still got the edge panel, so you can also go through there and find stuff. I mean, powerhouse of multitasking. Throw in the fact that they have the S Pen here for the Galaxy Z Fold 4. And what else do you need? They had it on the 3 as well, but what else do you need here? You have the S Pen experience. I mean, you can take notes, you can draw, you can calculate, you can write. I mean, if you just need everything in one phone, this phone does it all. It really does. But one thing you have to sacrifice with using this phone is you have to sacrifice the kind of the awkward feel. But it's super useful. And honestly, I think it would even be useful like in a college setting. You know, you're taking notes in class and stuff. I don't know how many teachers would accept it. Hey there, this phone has been awesome. Has been awesome. I don't know how many teachers would accept it, but man, it's incredible. So yeah, I just wanted to say that right there. Having S Pen on board is awesome. Now, the battery life is also pretty darn good. I'm not going to say it's the best. It's not ridiculously good, but it gets through a full day. You can use it out pretty good. And you can get this with 512 gigabytes, which is what I got here. Tons of internal storage. Battery life lasts, you know, 12 gigabytes of RAM on board. It's got enough memory to do what you want. You can get the split side by view menu here, which kind of feels like a tablet for sure. And of course, the customizations are strong. Got the One UI 5 on board here, different color palettes, new wallpapers they brought, new backgrounds, all kinds of stuff, new icons. It's fun. It's a fun phone to use with, serious productivity on board. So 5 months later with the performance, it's also been solid. I can run everything on here. It's actually more than solid. It's incredibly fast. This feels as fast as like, your latest iPhone 14 Pro Max, stuff like that. This phone's just very fast. And then I can move on to talking a little bit about cameras in my 5 months later. I could say this is an area Samsung really needs to improve with the Z Fold. You are sacrificing some. Yes, they've been getting better year over year, but these pictures are just solid. They're just good enough. They're not, I'm gonna say, the quality of your main smartphones. They definitely have some more noise, not quite as sharp. I like that they can zoom very far, and it's nice that the rear cameras are pretty good on here, but I'm never picking this phone up for video or photo over any of my other smartphones. So Samsung, please go to town on the cameras on the next Z Fold. Make them as good as the regular standard Galaxy phones. It's ready. It's time. It's prime time. These are really good. They're solid, but they're just not amazing. So I definitely want to see more in the camera department for this phone. What is amazing though is the audio speakers. The speakers down here and over here are plenty loud. So if you're watching a video, your iPhone's battery life. We're gonna use the iPhone 14 Pro. Just very loud. It fills the room. It's just a very great speaker experience. And then when you're watching videos, because the Z Fold does have a lot of space, you can view comments over here, watching the video over here. A lot of these tips. It's just an excellent overall media consumption experience with really good speakers on board. Oh yeah, Bluetooth 5.2, USB-C, premium look and feel, refined, dual SIM, 5G, great Wi-Fi speed, premium performance, S Pen support. 5 months later, I don't really crave too much. The only thing I want Samsung to do here is make the front display more the size of a regular smartphone. I don't know if they will, and make the cameras much better. The cameras I don't like that I'm paying this much and I'm not getting cameras that are as good as the regular Galaxy. I know they got to differentiate that phone in some way, but the market's already proven that people aren't just going to buy this phone because the cameras are good or whatever. They're only buying this one if they want a foldable. So it's time to put really good cameras on here. Also, I will say Samsung needs to improve the best they can with cases every year. I love this case right here, but it is a little bit weird how the S Pen just kind of makes this thing like a little angular. So it'd be nice to have the S Pen in the body if they could figure that out. That would also be cool. But the cases are better this year. I gotta say, the Z Fold 4 has been an awesome phone to use daily, for sure. Definitely much more prime time right now. And 5 months later, definitely could recommend it if you can find it on a deal. But if you are looking for the best that Samsung has to offer, they might be having that coming up here February 1st with the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. So stay tuned for that content, but also stay tuned for the upcoming Z Fold 5 later this year. I'll catch you on the next one. Let me know your thoughts on the Z Fold 4. If you're picking one up, if you got one, if you had a Z Fold 3, let us know your experiences. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.